everybody. So today is our last writing lesson for this half term at home, which is fabulous. So we'll all get to see you on Monday. So let's make it a good session. So we're going to start by doing the vocab blast, and I really enjoyed yesterday's activity. So I'm going to end on a high, and we're going to carry on by doing the same sort of task, but using some different words that we have learnt. So here I've got the word float. I've got because, I've got blue, and I've got underneath. Now, I know that you know how we do these. So I want you to have a little go at saying the words, acting it out, giving me a definition, and then using it in a sentence. Okay, so see if you can do that for me for these 4 words at the bottom, and then I'll have a go. So just pause the screen for me. Well done. So I'm going to choose the words now and have a go at defining them. So here I've got the word underneath. So if I'm going to act it out, I'm going to say underneath. So the definition of underneath, well, it's a preposition and it's telling me that something is directly under another object. And if I was going to use it in a sentence, I might say that the Miss Reed puts her bag underneath her desk. Okay. Here I've got the word blue. Now blue can be used as a colour to describe the shade of something. However, we also know that blue can be used to describe someone's feelings. Okay, and this is the blue that I mean. So if we use the word blue as an action, I'm going to do this. And the definition means that you're feeling a bit miserable. And if I was going to use it in a sentence, I would be saying that today I am feeling rather blue. Super. My next word is because. And if I was going to act out because, I would do this. Okay, and the why I do that is because it's the reason why something has happened. If I was going to use it in a sentence, I might say, I am very excited because it's the weekend tomorrow. Or I'm very excited because I get to see you all in school in 3 days. Yes. And then my final word here is float. So, an action for float. I'm going to do this, an action for float. And if you are floating, it means you're hovering above something. And in a sentence, I might say astronauts float in space because there is 0 gravity. So well done for having a little go at joining in with me at home. And today's lesson, we're going to carry on with writing our alien stories. Now, I'm not going to talk much, just like I haven't done in the past couple of days, because this is where I want you to have a go at doing a bit of a longer written task. Okay, so less of me talking and more time for you to do writing. So here I've got my 2 extracts that I have written so far this week. So here I've got the beginning and the middle of my story, and I'm just going to read them through to you. Here, Flike was worried. There was lots of noise. It hurt his ears. There were lots of things around him, and he was wet and cold. He tried to talk to the inflatables. This is where Miss Reed copied but not made her edits from yesterday. But they floated away. He thought he heard his mum calling and he crawled into a box. Okay. Then we had yesterday's, and I have put, there was a loud bang and the door opened. Some little things grabbed him and were chatting. They took him to the wet stuff. It was cold and smelly. Flike went up the tube and zoomed down. He saw an enormous tube and he crawled up the ladder. So that's where I got to in my story. You might want to have a little recap of your story so that you remember where you were up to. So moving forward in today's session then, we're going to be thinking about how your alien is getting home. So just think back, you might want to look at your plan for this. Is he going through a magic door? Is he getting sucked up and transported into a rocket? Maybe he goes in a spaceship and finds his own way back home. Have a little think, look on your plans. What did you decide was going to happen at the end of your story? So, for my story here, this is my ending. I decided, remember, that my character, Flyke, was going to go home and was going to be transported through the slides. He was going to go down that enormous slide that I've just described. And when he gets to the bottom, it takes him into his homeland with his parents, which he'll be really happy about. And this is the part that I'm going to be writing today. So I've just got the ending here. And I'm going to have a go now at writing my last section. And I'm going to try and make this the best bit and try and make sure that I'm not missing out any full stops or capital letters. Let's have a little look. So we got up to, didn't we, that Flyke had got to the top of the tube and he was going to go down, and when he got there, he was going to go home. So I'm going to start off by saying and describing how he gets down the tube. So I'm going to say he shot down the slide. So that means he went really quick. So he shot down, out and down the slide. When he gets to the bottom, wonder what he'll hear. I know, there's going to be a big crash. Okay, so there was a big crash. Crash, 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 crash. When he gets to the bottom, maybe he'll open his eyes and look around him. So could I say, Flyke opened his eyes. Flyke opened his eyes. I might even want to describe how he did it there and say he opened his eyes slowly. Once he's opened his eyes, he peeked and he saw who? Well, if I look back at my character Flyke, I know that Flyke has got 3 eyes. So I'm going to say he peeked and saw 3 eyes staring at him. It was his mum. Yeah, so he peeked and saw 3 eyes looking at him. Full stop, capital letter. It was his mum. Oh. And what might they do when they rejoice? Could say that Flyke jumped up and gave his mum a big hug. Flyke jumped up and gave his mum a huge hug. And then I'm going to have a final sentence. I'm going to say finally, because remember we've used that conjunction to show that it happens at the end. So finally, Flyke was home, where he belonged. Super. Right. Shall we check it and see how it's doing? There might even be bits that I need to improve or add on to. So he shot down the slide. So I've punctuated that. There was a big crash. I've used big, yeah. Flyke opened his eyes. He peeked and saw 3 eyes looking at him. It was his mum. Flyke jumped up and gave his mum a huge hug. Finally, Flyke was home, where he belonged. Super. Now, I think I could possibly add to that. I wonder if I can add some adjectives. Let me have a little look. He shot down the slide. If I look on my plan here, I've said gloomy slide. So I think I'm going to change that and add in gloomy. So he shot down the gloomy slide. Yeah, that's better. And we've said big, but I wonder if we can use a better word than big. If I cross that out, instead of big, I've already used huge. Gigantic, that's a good idea. Gigantic, brilliant. So he shot down the gloomy slide. There was a gigantic crash. Flyke opened his eyes. He peeked and saw 3 eyes looking back at him. It was his mum. Flyke jumped up and gave his mum a huge hug. And finally, Flyke was home where he belonged. Yes, that sounds a lot better. So that's the ending of my story. So I've written my whole story now from start to finish. So your job today then is to write the ending to your alien story. Once you've had a little go at doing it, you might want to publish it or make it into your own book at home. So an extra job that you could be doing over the weekend. And I would love it if you could bring me these stories in on Monday so I can have a little read, because I know that some of you have been working really hard on these and I'm just desperate to read them all. So that's the end of our last remote English lesson. And on Monday, we return back to school, which I'm so excited about. So we will see you outside our classrooms at 8:30. Take care. Have a lovely weekend. Bye, everybody.